Hello again, and welcome to episode number what? Jeez, what episode number is this?
This is 15.
15. Look at us go.
So anyway, I think I have to fucking check. I think it's 15. If not, delete that.
Okay, episode 15 of Smarts for Attitude Wrestling Podcast, and today we're going to talk about Smackdown's last branded pay-per-view. I believe this is the case, isn't it?
I think so. We had this exact same conversation last time, and in the interim, I've not checked. So
we're getting old and we're losing our memories. So yeah, FastLane is the last of the dual-branded pay-per-views. And how did you feel? How do you feel these pay-per-views went out, Harry?
I didn't think much of FastLane, to be brutally honest. So if future pay-per-views were going to be single-branded, then I'll be all the more happy to see them go. But
yeah,
who knows what the future holds with them being co-branded pay-per-views.
Yeah, 4 hours or 6 hours a pop, possibly.
4 hour show, 2 hour pre-show. It's going to be so much fun.
Well, shall we get started then with Fastlane?
Yeah. Do you want me to just go through pre-show, or I don't know why I asked this. I obviously do.
Well, this is in a Smarks About Attitude first. Harry's you're going to lead us. You're going to lead us on most of this stuff.
I was going to say, don't get used to that. I think for everyone's sanity, I think it would be best if you still host the show. Otherwise, it would just be the Royal Rumble all over again.
Well, yeah, which was decent. Right, cool. Fastlane.
Right. The good news is the pre-show is pretty fillerified. There's 25 minutes of recaps and filler. I've literally put fuckity fuck hell. It just goes on. There's a build-up pack for the US title. Jinder and Sunil come out. He gets booed. Complains he's not in the US title match. Says he's been disrespected. Stumbles on his words, which I'm doing now. It's all right. The only notable piece before the pre-show main event is a Ziggler interview where Sam mentions WWF Championship as opposed to the WWE Championship, which Ziggler says he's not that old to win, which I thought was quite funny. His promo, it's a flip-flop between heel and face, and I have no idea what he is. Like, I don't know what he is.
No one does, do they?
No. And the other thing is he kind of shat all over the US title, which was kind of sad. What can you do? Your pre-show main event is Breezango and Fashion Police in training, Tyler Breeze versus Mojo Rawley, Chad Gable, and Shelton Benjamin. More 6-man tag team fluff. It's average but totally harmless. I was more obsessed with the fact that this whole pre-show was sponsored by Tap Out Body Spray. And I thought it was like... Yeah, I know, and I thought it was very apropos because I was like, this is just giving me flashbacks towards the WCW Nitro Cologne.
Oh,
I
God.
thought that should be our pre-show sponsor. WCW Monday Night Cologne.
That stuff smells awful. That stinks.
That stinks. Proper flashbacks. That is pretty much it, man. There's fuck all on this pre-show. Like, I think that was kind of like a big telling sign of what was to come of this show, which was...
A lot of people have commented and said that Fastlane is kind of just like a long episode of Smackdown with a half-decent main event.
Yes, that is a pretty good summary of the actual show. It was a good episode of Smackdown, if it ever went 3 hours. But don't give them ideas.
Well, God, no. Don't think we're going to get 3 hour Smackdowns. God Lord.
No.
Do not want that.
I was going to say, I also want to point out, one of my notes was, I prayed the show was under 3 hours, and thank sweet fuck, it's 2 hours, 55 minutes. I'll take that as a divine victory. I'm so glad this pay-per-view is under 3 hours.
We'll get to it shortly, but 2 hours and 55 minutes with probably a good 15 minutes of selling from the Usos and the New Day.
And 2 promo packs for Raw matches as well.
Yeah, no, they did WrestleMania stuff, certainly.
Yeah, this was padded out to fuck.
Anyway.
Right.
Main card.
Your opening bout is between Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. It's pretty much the crowd's favourites.
Yeah, it's a kind. I suppose Rusev is the heel in this match, but this has got a kind of face dynamic to it, hasn't it?
It has, and to be fair, they desperately tried to get the crowd behind Nakamura entirely and not behind Rusev because they have Aiden English come out first and he raps and it's really good. But even calling the crowd crappy doesn't deter the audience from cheering Rusev. So by all logic, you would surely think Rusev should be face at this point, but they're going to try and have their cake and eat and still pretend he's a heel.
Yeah, and I suppose, spoiler alert for the main event of the show, but AJ Styles vs Nakamura is currently set up to be a face against face match at WrestleMania, isn't it? So,
which I think's the right choice. I think
yeah,
they're not going to boo AJ and they're not going to boo Nakamura.
I don't think they will, but I think AJ will play the heel in that match. But yeah, no, I did catch this match. I thought it was okay for an opener.
So did I. I thought it was decent. I thought the crowd was very heated for it. Rusev selling was pretty good, minus the final quarter of the match where, he sold his leg, as it was like, there was something wrong with it. Nakamura was working the leg. And then final quarter, he just kind of forgets he does all his, stomps and Rusev Clash and all the other stuff, which I thought was a little bit of a letdown.
Rusev Machka.
But yeah, no complaints with this match. I thought it was quite competent.
Yeah, there was that spot, when I think he goes for the knee.
Kinshasa.
When he goes for that and he gets a super kick and he pretty much over rotates and nearly necks himself. Which was an interesting spot, yeah. Yeah,
no. But this match, if they do put the belt on Nakamura, it was something maybe they could repeat in the future because they did have a bit of chemistry, the pair of them. So
that was that was the kind of vibe I got from it. But then I don't know. I don't quite know what they're going to do with this match at WrestleMania because AJ is great and AJ is amazing, and Nakamura is. I think Nakamura is doing quite well on the main roster. I mean, they don't really let him talk that much,
minus the blip against Mahal last. Yes.
Well, Randy and Mahal was dog shit as well, but I think that's down on. I think Jinder hindered in that case, but yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Do they put it on Nakamura and give him a few months, or do they give AJ his win in the rematch? Considering Nakamura did beat him at Wrestle Kingdom, I know that's implying that Vince knows the booking and results of a Wrestle Kingdom from a few years ago, which is probably not the case. But would they give AJ the win this time? And it's all. I always think it's interesting to go into WrestleMania without the results being so telegraphed, but who knows?
Unlike we can talk about the build for the Raw Universal Title match. It doesn't really matter who loses this match as such, because most people are more interested in what the actual bout's going to consist of. And as long as it's something resembling the Wrestle Kingdom match, then everyone kind of wins, regardless of the result. There's no chance of it being a Money in the Bank cash-in. It's literally going to be two of the best wrestlers in the world having a match, and whoever wins just goes on with the world title. If it's a new champion in Nakamura, then that's great. If AJ continues to establish his second title reign, then that's still great. So it's a case of whoever wins, everybody kind of wins, unless you really are a die-hard fan of one of the two and you can't stand the idea of the other person winning. But I don't think that's going to be many people at all. Yeah,
I think it'll be quite interesting, and I hope the next couple of weeks of build on SmackDown are going to be good, and they're going to actually build quite well to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that will be key to this as well, because at the moment they seem to be focusing a lot on Raw with their angles as opposed to what SmackDown is building towards a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Our second match is for the WWE Start again. Our second match is for the WWE United States Championship with Randy Orton against Bobby Roode.
God.
This was a match that I used to book when I used to have wrestling games. Back when both of these guys were when these guys were much younger. This was before Orton. This was after Orton won the first world title and before Roode won his first world title. So around 2007.
When young Roode in TNA.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm.
With the long hair.
Yeah.
And beer money. So it's actually happening. Both men are much more older now,
Yep.
and Randy's like a 13-time world champion. This match was, again, it's okay, to be brutally honest. The crowd was pretty silent throughout until there was a top rope superplex spot by Orton, which the crowd did wake up for.
That was a big suplex.
Well, as the commentators put over, Randy's deceptively tall. He's about
Mm.
six, I want to say 6'4", and then Rude's
He is,
about,
yeah.
I want to say 5'11", so he's going about 10 feet in the air. Well, even higher than that because he's on the top rope, so about 14 feet for a drop
Yeah.
for Rude. It
Mm.
was big, and that was the turning point, but the match doesn't really last much longer than that. And I don't know what Rude was attempting to do from the top rope, but he gets RKO'd out of nowhere, and Orton wins the title. But again, it was an okay match. Nothing spectacular.
Yeah, I wasn't. I watched a bit of this, and I was a bit bored of it, to be honest.
I can see why. I don't think, again, I think the crowd can make a big difference to these kind of matches, and they just, after the first match where they seem to have just, you know, they burnt out like 25 minutes into this pay-per-view, which is quite scary.
Yeah.
Um,
At the end of the match, Jinder gets involved, doesn't he? I
yes, he
believe.
does. Him and Sunil come out, I think. Maybe it was just Ginger on his own. And
Mm.
then Ginger attacks Orton, and then Rude saves Orton, and then attacks Orton anyway for losing the title. So obviously we're setting up a triple threat match at WrestleMania.
Yes, which is, I suppose, a bit interesting, but
I
I don't.
don't know, to be honest. I think that
Thing
might be a
is,
bit
I
of a
guess
push.
you give Jinder a huge push, and he has the belt for so long, and he goes over Randy a few times. He went over Nakamura a couple of times, and then all of a sudden they realise that the experiment's a huge failure. He drops it. AJ gets rid of him with the rematch. I mean, I suppose it wouldn't be very good for their creative team if he did just fade away into complete obscurity. So it does make sense that he's having some kind of attempt at getting the secondary title. I mean, it just looks a bit all rubbish and forced, this whole freeway feud. And I'm a
I'm
bit
glad you said that.
disappointed. I'm a bit disappointed that they've taken it off Rude so soon. But there you go.
I can kind of get why, because the whole build of this match was it's the one title Randy hasn't won that's readily available to him.
Yeah,
But I don't think this is a match on a stacked card which Mania is currently looking at. I don't think this is a match that necessarily needs to even be on the show.
oh,
So
yeah, it's not gonna be pre-show, is it?
I don't know. I'd say that have a lot of bollocks to put the one of the main eventers from last year and the longest reigning world champion on SmackDown from last year and put them on pre-show for the second biggest title. But stranger things have happened.
Well, Dean
Um,
Ambrose and Baron Corbin were on pre-show, weren't they, last year?
exactly that, and Neville and Aries.
Aries, yeah, which caused Aries to leave.
Yeah, and Neville soon after.
Yes. Right. Okay. Cool. What do we have next?
Next is your favourite champion of all time, Reese, Naomi, and Becky Lynch versus Carmella and Natalia.
What an
My
interesting
first,
match on a pay-per-view.
my first two notes are hello, random SmackDown tag team match. And prior to you having commitments and having to watch, the important matches of the show, I've put also can guarantee Reese hasn't wrote a fucking thing for this match.
No, not a single thing. I mean, even when I saw the card before the show, I was like, I'm not. There's no way I'm watching this.
Okay. This match, just from the build, total filler.
Mm.
Match somehow, I thought give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe these four ladies will, persevere and make something good out of it. Nah, sloppy, just dull, boring, hilarious. How many times there's been a SmackDown women's tag team match taking place, yet these four look like they'd never even wrestled each other before. It felt like a dress rehearsal for something bigger,
How
and then
did
you
how
realise
did
that's a bad idea.
Becky look?
Becky looks okay. She got the hot tag to get. Basically, Naomi played the face in peril, so she worked towards that so Becky could get the comeback. But it was just sloppy. It's just moves, like, simple moves. And there was also a large bit of the match which focused on Naomi's hair, which made no sense.
Mm.
Other than the fact that it was available, and I think Kevin Dunn is just a massive fucking troll, and he's like, haha, there's a weave. She's imperfect. I can focus on that. It's probably Kevin cacking it as well.
Kevin Dunn apparently doesn't like Becky Lynch because of her accent. Is that right? That's a rumour, isn't it?
Has he heard the way he talks?
Well, I know, but he's American, and apparently, according to some Americans,
there's no excuse for the way he. If it sounds anything like the way Cornette, Pritchard, or anyone does Dunn's voice, he should have. Don't throw stones in glass houses.
Yeah. Well, if you're happy to move on from this completely pointless filler match, which does include a Money in the Bank briefcase holder, which is even more baffling.
Does. Yep, that's the other brief mention, but we can get into that as well for after this. Our next match is for the Smackdown Tag Team Championship, which is the feud that never ends. It's the New Day against the Usos.
But without going into the end of this match, they are the only two real teams on SmackDown that are worth just feuding, aren't they?
Well, you would have said that prior to the aftermath of this match.
But what I mean is, like, Breezango, who were getting quite good reactions with their skits and their comedy shtick, have kind of just been fobbed off. And, was it Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder? Just a complete waste of time. Gable and Benjamin seem to have something going, but then again, they lost 2-0 and a best 2 out of 3, which is usually the sign that a tag team is going absolutely nowhere. So yeah, it's just left with these two. Yeah.
Yeah. This match, obviously, we've seen them wrestle several times before, and there've been some outstanding bouts between them. It did seem a bit weird prior to the end of this match, where they were just mimicking each other's spots, which I suppose was a way of at least telling a different type of story. I'm going to be brutally honest, that's not really... It's one of my pet peeves of wrestling. Stealing other people's moves. I can kind of get it as like a derogatory thing, similar to Rock and Austin, what they did in the Attitude Era with some of their matches, where, Rock would do the Stone Cold Stunner and Austin would do a terrible Rock Bottom. And, it was just a mocking thing. Whereas this, it was like exact spots, duplicated, back and forth. So I wasn't a fan of this match, but then the aftermath happened, or rather the angle took place, which was fantastic.
Yeah, now this I did enjoy. It was a bit, I was going to say barbaric, but not really. But, the hammer bits were a bit barbaric. They do all these moves and stuff, and then Eric Rowan actually tries to murder one of the Usos.
It's like he watched all those Triple H matches and go, I don't get why this motherfucker doesn't just swing the hammer, and he smashes it right into the steps.
I
take it their work. They must be heavily padded or hollow as fuck. There's no way they're gonna.
There was a bit of a thud, but yeah, it's not. I mean, am I right in thinking the Triple H's sledgehammer that's a gimmicked thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. And I can tell you why.
The one at WrestleMania against Undertaker was gimmicked because the gimmick actually cut Taker. Is that why then they weren't gimmicked?
Yeah, that was the first and only instance where they used the gimmicked sledgehammer. And the reason being was because the thing broke in half and it smashed down Taker's face and it cut him straight open.
Yeah.
So from there on, it's Triple H with a legit sledgehammer, except he holds the end of it and times it so he doesn't legit kill someone.
Okay.
So the one time in history wrestling tries to attempt to be safe, it turns out it nearly injures someone.
Yeah.
What a fucking world. But this was fantastic. The beatdown by the Bludgeon Brothers. They've gone from War Machine ripoffs to suddenly War Machine ripoffs I actually give a shit about.
Yeah, when I first saw the gimmick a little while ago, I kind of thought it was a bit silly. And since then, they've done quite a lot of, squash matches on SmackDown. And was this their first pay-per-view appearance? Or have they been on pay-per-views? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it is.
In this incarnation, anyway, we're not including the Wyatt family.
And yeah, they've absolutely smashed the shit out of both teams. Some good moves, some good big man stuff. The New Day and Usos sold for an age.
Yes, they made them look fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, Harper is, we've said this privately, but we'll say it in the open. Harper's probably the most underrated guy on that roster with Cesaro and Russo. Or Rusev? Russo, fuck.
Russo, fucking hell.
Don't let him hear that. Don't let him hear it. Oh, shit. Rusev and Cesaro. And Rowan, I think's never had a fair shake of the stick, so it was good to see him out there. But they looked absolutely fantastic. There's no short way about it. They looked absolutely fantastic on this. And again, Mania's heading toward triple threat of some sort, for in this case for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And I can't wait to see how it unfolds, just from this one, angle here.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
What's next? Oh, here we go. Our next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is between Ruby Riott and Charlotte Flair. I take it you skimmed this.
I had this on. I watched most of this. Yeah.
I'm going to be brutally honest. I thought it was pretty flat.
Yeah, I remember watching the package, the pre-match package, the video package. I realised that there has been a bit of a build towards this, but creative on SmackDown's women's division has been just really quite shit when you compare it to, say, Raw and Alexa Bliss has, you'd say the booking's been a bit more prominent. And I suppose with 3 hours of Raw, they've got more time to put women's matches on, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched this pre-match video and saw the booking that it's this feud has had, and I was like, oh, yeah, I hadn't really noticed any of that. So
I agree. I think it's a case of they've been repeating the same shit over and over again for weeks on end, and it kind of just blurs together. Charlotte has to defend herself against the Riot Squad, and it's been that way forever, it seems.
Yeah.
As you say, there does appear to be some sort of build, but it's so generic and dull, it's kind of just blurred in. But it does make a good video package, though, to be fair. So, fair fucks. But, this match, again, I thought just the same point. It was flat. The crowd is still dead. Flair does the majority of the actual wrestling moves. There's some decent spots. Obviously, there's the typical Flair. I mean, putting a proper down here, but Flair with the moonsault into the reverse DDT, I think it was, although the camera didn't really catch the angle. So cheers, Kevin.
Yeah.
But Flair wins with a figure eight. Nothing special despite her best efforts. And again, much like the last match, it's the aftermath, which is crucially important towards WrestleMania, when the Royal Rumble winner Asuka arrives and declares her intentions to face Flair at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship.
Yeah, this is interesting, I suppose. But kind of, I mean, was there any, apart from dirt sheets kind of knowing it was going to happen, was there any real indication of this, apart from just the really obvious booking of Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax on Raw?
I think it'd just be that, and maybe just applying logic. Obviously, we went through the entire rigmarole last episode of saying how we would book a program between Asuka and Ronda, which is hilarious in hindsight. But I guess you could say as well, with Flair is obviously, out of the two women's champions, Flair's the legitimate, champion as such, whereas Alexa's been the chicken shit for the last, however many months she's been champion.
Yeah, I'd say the thought of a really, out of the two options of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte for Asuka, the Asuka Charlotte match has a good prospect. It's the prospect of being a really good match.
Yeah, exactly. It was never done in NXT as well, so this is a literal first for WWE, which makes a nice change.
Yeah, I think Meltzer was saying that I think they've been in tag matches together whilst touring with NXT, possibly. But any book they were booked at one point to have singles matches in NXT, but the office nixed them probably because they had this in mind, right?
I believe so, which is probably a good case to argue to say. Sometimes having NXT as a developmental ground, it does take away the intrigue of what these first matches will be. So this is quite an intriguing one. It's nice, it's refreshing for the WWE to have a match with two graduates from NXT who have never faced each other. So again, it's another match where it's like, oh, this could be really good.
Yeah, I agree.
So with all the bollocks happening with the women on SmackDown, at least the championship scene has some, like, an intriguing match going into Mania.
Yeah, agreed. This could be good.
And our final match, so we've skimmed through most of this pay-per-view. Our final match is another multi-man match for a world championship, as John Cena, who, if he doesn't win, has no road to WrestleMania, takes on Baron Corbin. And it is John Cena versus Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler versus Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus defending champion AJ Styles in a 6-pack challenge match.
Yeah, the last year or so, WWE have done quite a few of these kind of main events, haven't they?
This was one of my points I was going to make, so we might as well question it now. Are you a fan of these continuing to happen, or have they sort of kind of burnt out as such? Because there's been so fucking many of them.
I'm just a big fan of really good singles matches for the world title. I think in some cases, historically, there have been some really fun multi-man matches, especially for world titles. I mean, the one that always sticks in my mind is the Armageddon Hell in a Cell match?
Oh God, with the pickup truck.
Angle won that, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, with Rikishi taking that really weird soft bump on the sawdust. Is that right?
On the pickup truck. That looks very suspicious. It's almost like they've got 3 mattresses under there.
Yeah, it was. I think of that, and I think obviously Elimination Chamber matches are multi-man, but with a gimmick. But then you go, I might miss out some here, but we had was it a 5-way at Extreme Rules for the number 1 contendership? SummerSlam was a 4-way. Is that right?
Yep, I think so.
Royal Rumble was a triple threat, and I'm pretty certain there's been some others thrown in and around. And yeah, we've road to WrestleMania.
The handicap match at the Rumble as well between Styles, Owens and Zayn as well.
So that's essentially a triple threat, yeah. Yeah, a bit weird. They're relying on it. I think it's probably more because those matches we just mentioned there from the last year have actually been quite good and entertaining. And you'd probably say consistency-wise with main events, they're quite consistent with their multi-man matches. So
yeah, exactly. The only duff one was the triple threat at the Rumble for the Universal title out of all of them.
Yeah, and I know it's not quite the same, but the Survivor Series main event was also terrible.
Oh God, yeah, but that wasn't for a championship, was it? So, but this match, obviously, it being 6 people, there's way too fucking much to keep track of. So I was just going to keep it to 3 separate points. Obviously, the end result is AJ Styles retains with a phenomenal forearm on Owens. But
yeah,
3 points I wanted to.
Yeah, I quite like the finish was quite good.
But the 3 points I wanted to go through was number 1 was Styles retaining, obviously, which definitely, it was pretty predictable on paper, regardless, because it would be insane for them to say, swerve everyone, go, just for fucking kicks. Let's have Nakamura versus, say, Corbin
or Cena, I suppose, if you want to join in with the kayfabe.
Yeah, exactly that. So, good result, the right result. Second point I wanted to make was between the ongoing storyline of Zayn, Owens, and Shane McMahon, because obviously in this match, both guys appear to have had the match won, and Shane interfered, which seems to be leading up to some sort of confrontation at WrestleMania. Although, as of recording this, it's not entirely clear what that is.
Well, SmackDown afterwards, Shane McMahon booked them against one another. So the official booking for WrestleMania 34 as we speak is Owens v Zayn, which obviously goes against was it Battleground? They had their last match ever, or Payback, whatever it was, I can't remember. But anyway,
it was the end of that particular feud, but yeah.
Yeah, so That's what it is. But on the same episode of SmackDown, they did proceed to, as a team, completely obliterate Shane McMahon. So I've got a feeling it's going to be some kind of tag match, and Shane McMahon's going to pick someone to be his partner. God knows who, but there you go.
So yeah, again, it's another program or angle going into WrestleMania, which not as conclusive, obviously, at this point. Obviously, I mean, next week they probably will settle for something as to what they're doing, but interesting regardless. Then our final point is obviously the most important person in this match, which is John Cena and his lack of a match at WrestleMania.
Well, he's laid the challenge down. So the Raw after FastLane, he did very, very passionately and very, very loudly call out the Undertaker on Raw, because even though we all knew it, once he realised that his road to WrestleMania didn't just rely on a title match, he realised, oh, hang on, I'm John Cena. I'm going to challenge the Undertaker. So yeah, I've got no idea if remember the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt's build, which was Bray Wyatt talking to the camera for 5 weeks, and the odd lights go down and a bong to distract him. So will we get that, or will we get the Undertaker turning up and maybe choke slamming Cena every now and then?
I don't know, to be brutally honest. They've had it both ways before. So, and Cena can probably sell the program all by himself, which is quite a sad way of looking at it. As much as I love Taker, but Cena shouting for the next 4 weeks or however long it is until Mania about how he's got to face the Undertaker and making snide remarks, which are, work shoots, as they say.
Yeah, like the whole Rock thing, which for me ruined it. That whole shooty element to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that angle was not. That whole thing has not aged well at all. And considering how hilarious it is in hindsight, how it turned out, like Cena going on and one.
Yeah.
He's going to Hollywood, and it's like 5 years later, I'm going to Hollywood.
He's quite good as well. I do like John Cena.
Oh no, he ran fucking circles around Rock last time. So
have you seen that? Oh, what's the name of the movie? Is it Trainwreck? The one where he plays the
with Amy Schumer. Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I've seen clips of him.
He's really funny in that. And
yeah, no,
even funnier are his outtakes.
That's right. Yeah.
So good. Often get shown on Botchamania, don't they?
Yeah, I think off topic as well, but I think Cena's got probably a better career trajectory in terms of Hollywood than Rock does. Whereas Rock stars in any old schlock, but gets paid millions from it. Cena has been, minus his very early movie career with The Marine and that other film, which I can't even fucking remember what it's called, 40 Rounds or some shit? 12 Rounds?
12 Rounds, isn't there? The boxing ones. Something
like that. But since then, it looks like he's actually picking and choosing what he wants to do. And, fair fucks to him.
But, yeah, The Rock, actually, a lot of the stuff The Rock's in, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain he's also a producer. So like for Jumanji, for example, I'm fairly certain he was a driving force in getting a Jumanji sequel done. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Like the Page film that's coming out. That's he's a producer. He's very much involved in that, in getting that off the ground. I've got a feeling he's like that with most of his movies.
He's not got a role in that movie though, has he? The Page, whatever it's called.
No, but he's very much part of it.
But again, it's just going back to the point of Cena, because obviously he's not going to be around for much longer in terms of wrestling, like a full-time schedule. I mean, regardless of how many times he keeps saying he's not part-time, he is part-time. But it's a case of how much longer is he going to be in it, and what is his plans post-Mania, which obviously leads to the bigger question of if this match actually does happen, which if they don't book it, considering the build to it, they're absolutely insane. Who the fuck wins between The Undertaker and John Cena?
Well, I have 2 questions related to that. First question is, would you put it as the main event? Yes. Or no? I agree. So I think it's going to get booked. It should main event the show, and second should take a go over. And retire for good and finally do actually go away?
Yes. And the reason I say it, I know the old wrestling rule is you go out on your back, but I've said this to you privately, so I'll say it out in the open as well. Most wrestlers don't have a consistent career of 28 years as the same character.
Mm.
And to be fair, Taker has lost twice at Mania, which doesn't sound great, but both of his losses are massive events. It's obviously going to build into the Universal title match because it is a match between the two guys that have actually beaten Taker. Taker's put a lot of work into the WWE for nearly 3 decades, and I think he deserves one, final hurrah.
Yeah.
But I can see him not accepting that. I think he'd rather lose. I don't think Cena will take it.
I'd like it if Cena cheated to win.
Oh, you are so desperate for this fucking heel turn.
Oh, me and everyone else. But it's nothing. It's not because I'm bored of John Cena face or I'm sick of John Cena as a face. It's just because I want him to get. I mean, we've spoken about this before. My feelings towards John Cena now compared to years ago are so polar opposite. I absolutely love him. I get a lot. I think he's great. I get a lot of fun watching him these days. Compared to when I absolutely hate his guts and pretty much stopped watching WWE because I just couldn't handle it. I was cheering for fucking JBL, and I fucking hate JBL, and that's how bad I hated Cena. What I mean is, I maybe they're gonna wait. I kind of want him to have that last serious run as a top main event guy. But similar to Hogan in '96, I don't think it will be entertaining or I don't want to say believable because wrestling, but I just think a heel turn would make it a lot more viable and entertaining and just better. I think it's still the opportunity to get nuclear heat on him is still there. It would be fun to see him in a different way. I'd quite like it. We'll see. It won't happen. I know it won't, but I just think it would be interesting.
I definitely don't think it's going to happen. And I think the most hilarious thing is, I think even if he became a heel as such, people would then cheer him. And then you're left with the stupid scenario where you've turned the guy who's been face for nearly 20 years now. He's now doing reprehensible things, and yet people now can't get enough of him because he's that entertaining.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I still think he's going to beat Blair's record, and it's going to be a non-event as such. I think it's going to be 4 weeks of build for a random show.
I'd love it if he did it as a heel. That's what I mean. I think it'd just be really interesting.
I don't think they will. I think they will have him with all the fucking confetti, and they'll be like, "Oh, he's over. He's done it. He's done it legit. He's done it straight. He did it on his own terms."
So Lex Luger at SummerSlam.
Yeah, you can hear Vince going like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that will probably happen. Yeah,
but I completely forgot about FastLane overall. FastLane was just flat. Let's just say that it was a final pit stop before WrestleMania. Its main event was spectacular. The rest of the show was meandering, spare 2 good angles.
It did its job as a last step. I mean, you'd say with these dual branded pay-per-views actually that they've actually put delays on the build for Mania, so now they can actually start the build for Mania fully as a whole organisation.
Exactly that. Yeah, this was an above episode or 3-hour episode of SmackDown.
Yeah,
but it didn't need to exist. This could have been a very good episode of SmackDown, and that was it.
Agreed.
But check out the multi-man. Check out the multi-man main event. That was great. Rest of the show.
Right. Well, it was the build for WrestleMania, so why don't we just quickly... It's still, was it 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of build for WrestleMania? But we do have roughly 10 or so matches that are fairly official, and we're just going to run through them quickly now.
It's fucking ginormous, that card. The moment you said 10 matches, I'm like, holy shit.
It's still more to come.
I know, I'm glad I've got that Monday off. I'm going to start watching at 7 o'clock in the morning and probably finish about 7 o'clock in the evening.
You should watch it. You should try and watch some of it live.
Fuck that. No. I
Well,
don't want to get the bad wrestling hangover.
if I can, I will. But let's just run through it. So, as we mentioned earlier, Owens and Zayn has been booked, but that's probably going to turn into a triple threat or a tag match involving Shane McMahon. We have the fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal, which has gone down like an absolute shit sandwich, and rightly so, because I've kind of read the stories about Moolah and Mae Young to an extent, in terms of dubious behaviour. But fuck me, I've read a lot of detail in what her actions and what she's been accused of, and Christ, it's
come on, Reese. Reese, it was part of the times. I mean, can you honestly say you've never worked with a woman who prostituted out her students and demanded a pay cut from all their hard work, and then when they threatened to go away, she basically blacklisted them?
Yeah, and all that aside, it's another Battle Royal on WrestleMania, so I mean, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal technically isn't official yet. It's not actually on the list of 10 matches, so that's two Battle Royals there, and I believe Carmella is the only official confirmed entrant for the Moolah Memorial. And yeah, there you go.
As of recording this, obviously, if enough people kick off as sponsors, they might consider it. But this is the same company that, they've glorified the Ultimate fucking Warrior, who was, for all intents and purposes, a horrible human being.
Well, wished death. Well, he kind of celebrated.
Wished death.
He celebrated Bobby Heenan's cancer by saying he deserved it. He was quite, I believe, homophobic in his comments. You like to use the F word in relation to homophobia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and his name is now part of the Hall of Fame, where they award. Is it actually linked to cancer charities? I could be wrong on that, but anyway,
I have no idea. I think it's just people who have been inspirational in succeeding against very serious illnesses, not strictly cancer.
Yeah, that's also a dodgy one.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the WWE in a nutshell, and it's just they are the victors, therefore they define history. But it's just hilarious in this day and age where there's so much fucking social media interaction that they think they can fucking do this and no one raise an eyebrow. And, going back to might have been the Royal Rumble where we talked about China, and it's like the joke is, in case someone fucking Googles China, and sees the incestuous gangbang for the porn video. It's like,
right, yeah.
Yeah, and don't fucking Google Moolah, because, it's a bit of an eye-opening experience. A lot of the women that were involved in it are fucking dead because of it.
Especially now, because of this, there are a ton of articles online. As I said, if you go to Squared Circle on Reddit, there's tons of information. David Bix has written a big piece with Deadspin about it, which is that's quite a lot of exposure. So yeah.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, if you need any information, check out David's article on Deadspin.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Definitely covers all the bullet points and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one of the matches.
Yep. So the final of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament is going to be Cedric Alexander against either Drew Gulak or Mustafa Ali at time of recording. So that's a pre-show match, I'd imagine, or opening match.
Until Neville comes out in his triumphant return, and then he says, "Wait a minute, I was the champion before that. Convicted? No, you ain't convicted. Never mind, scratch that. I was the last legit champion. I'm here to get me belt back."
Yeah,
I can dream, Reese.
Oh no, that would be interesting. Yeah, so that's coming up. Well, as of time of recording, it's currently Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar, will be defending their Raw Tag Team Championship against Braun Strowman, which is just,
and Braun is going to fucking win as well, just to make it funny.
Well, yeah, he will, and this is just complete bollocks.
Oh, I don't understand that Again, this is probably going to be hilarious in hindsight. They'll actually face a real team, but what the fuck? Seriously.
The one thing it makes me think is that the obsession of keeping Braun Strowman strong whilst not giving him the belt, it will just be the same thing. And, WrestleMania will end with Roman as the champion and Braun Strowman as the strongest singles wrestler on the Raw brand because he's the tag champion. And they're destined to go against each other at some point, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But yeah, as of time of recording, that's what he's doing.
Absolute mental. But
Yeah.
I thought Braun would be a shoo-in for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, just because obviously they're making a big deal about that because
That's what I thought.
it's
Yeah.
the HBO special. Surely it would make sense to have the legit other big guy in the company win it as like a nice, homage.
So
Yeah.
the two main women's matches are going to be Charlotte Flair against Asuka, which, as we mentioned earlier, is probably going to be a really good match, and not booked yet, but very likely is
Almost
going to
certainly.
be Alexa Bliss against Nia Jax, where I'm fairly certain if those are the two matches, Asuka will win the SmackDown match, and I think Nia will probably win the Raw one, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a bit of an element of doubt for Asuka because obviously Charlotte is a second generation star and she's
Yep.
established in her own right, and it would give her a massive rub to say she's actually the one to defeat Asuka, and she would be a legitimate, person to go over as such.
Yeah.
So there is that, but I think it is. I would probably 75-25 for Asuka to win for that match.
Yeah. Agreed.
But the Raw Women's match, very well booked angle, very sympathetic towards Nia from this previous week.
Yeah, she's getting some good reactions.
Yeah.
What's the irresistible force?
Oh yeah, well you ruined that with the fucking calling her the suspicious dog from The Simpsons.
Suspicious eyes dog, irresistible force, Nia Jax. Yeah.
Dun, 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 I'm not like most girls.
US title is currently Randy Orton. Oh, sorry,
Bolton.
Randy Orton defending against
Orton
Bobby. Orton defending against Rude, but that's definitely going to end up being a triple threat with Jinder involved. I could not give two shits about that. And actually, that would mirror the IC title because that's currently booked to be The Miz against Seth Rollins against Finn Balor, which is interesting. I think that's probably Finn Balor winning that, isn't it? And then maybe feuding with Seth for a little while. Who knows?
Maybe again, I don't know. Obviously, Miz has to go at some point because his daughters must be due at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think there'll be good matches regardless.
Then the marquee matches, I suppose you could say. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, the Olympic duo, as they've been dubbed, against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, the people that have to say and book the fucking shows sometimes. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting match.
Well, they've got plenty of weeks to build up because Ronda's going to be on every episode of Raw up until WrestleMania,
except the last one.
Not including the last one, and whenever it doesn't work.
Yeah, which is
disregard what we've written down in black and white on the internet. Just completely ignore that.
You know they deleted that article that said it, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think they've reposted it as of now.
Well, it would be good to do that because transparency is good. But yeah, this match should be good. I suppose Triple H and Angle will do the heavy lifting. Then again, Angle's probably not as sprightly as he once was. I'm fairly certain this match is going to end with Ronda tapping out Triple H in an armbar.
You think she'll beat Triple H?
I think Triple H is. I'm prepared to be proven completely wrong here, but fairly certain Triple H, considering his status in the organisation now, is happy to do a job like that to someone like Ronda if it gets a ton of media and helps bring more fans on board.
Surely if they're going to be doing... I mean, this whole angle is for twofold. One, as we previously mentioned, it's for a television deal. Two, it's because they want to push Stephanie McMahon into the public lexicon. They want her to be, as big as Vince McMahon, but bigger. surely it would make sense for Ronda to beat Stephanie to push that feud further.
Well, yeah, but I think there's more to be gained from showing just how dominant she is over. Was it a 14 or 15 time world champion? So we'll see.
I don't know. I've lost track. At least
I'm not
Sting
saying
isn't a nice whole number.
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's when I think of this match, that's what I think is going to happen.
I still think in the back of my mind that they might push themselves to go over, and their justification will be, "No, guys, seriously, wait until Ronda chases us for the victory. Then we'll make real money."
God, could you imagine if they
I don't know
win?
why- I don't know why yeah, I know. That's what again, Sting. I know you're going to keep saying Sting didn't have much of a career, but he could have if he actually managed to
I
win.
don't say he didn't have much of a career. I'm just saying that with Kurt and Ronda, there's no WCW element, and there's no element of we need to just beat WCW again. Whereas,
no, but again, they could argue and say, well, there's more of a chase now because, I mean, they could say, shit, Ronda's beaten Stephanie. Now what? And
yeah, but it's WrestleMania. You don't
Edson.
start angles at WrestleMania. You end them.
Not necessarily true. You can start angles, but
Well-
WrestleMania is traditionally where you finish them. I mean, look at
WrestleMania 2000.
Don't talk about WrestleMania 2000.
Well, I mean, the real the backlash after WrestleMania 2000 was a much better show because all of the things that you wanted to happen at WrestleMania happened at Backlash.
I know, but WrestleMania 2000 has some very strange parallels with this because of the amount of multi-person matches. WrestleMania 2000, I remember, had, I think, one singles match as opposed to, triple threat and fatal four-ways.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is quite similar, actually, to be fair. There's only three singles matches.
Well, moving on to those. The two world title matches, so AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura, rematch from, I think it's Wrestle Kingdom 9, could be wrong, I think it's Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was a fucking fantastic match in New Japan, was for the old Nakamura belt IC title, and it was hard hitting. They smashed the shit out of each other. They did it's so well done. I mean, if we got a match that was like half as good as that, it's going to completely and utterly wipe the floor of every other match on the card. So that's the one I'm looking forward to most at the moment.
To repeat a quote from myself, toot my own horn, they're getting 15 minutes. Kid Rock's got 3 songs.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen, but that's probably an accurate prediction. And
come on, guys. Seriously, he's playing American Badass, Sweet Home Alabama, and the other one.
Yeah, and he's probably going to say, "Make America Great Again" during it as well. But, yeah.
Protect my gun! You don't even have a gun.
And, of course, the big one, the rematch from WrestleMania 31, I believe, is Brock Lesnar defending his Universal title against Roman Reigns in what looks like to be the most telegraphed match on the card in terms of Reigns is definitely going to win. But I'm looking forward to Reigns winning this match. I think it's just high time that the WWE get rid of... Well, they're not going to get rid of him. He's going to leave. But I think Brock just needs to fuck off now. Let Roman have a run. And, we'll see what fan reaction is. But I, for one, will be enjoying Roman Reigns' victory over Brock at this WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely the same. Brock can fuck off. I think the WWE will lowball him and say, maybe you should just go to UFC. It's a much different atmosphere from 3 years ago. I think Reigns has come leaps and bounds since the last time this match happened. Crowd reception's probably got worse since then, but I think that's a given at this point. It's just a shame. But I'm very much looking forward to Reigns winning this and then eating my words 3 months down the line when his title reign looks like it's never going to end and we're bored of it.
Well, that's the inevitable situation.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry, guys, we're cynics.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see it. We'll just tackle it when it comes. And we have mentioned it, but Cena Taker is probably a lock for that. Looking forward to that, actually. As long as Taker comes in fairly decent shape, I think that would be a good match.
I think that's what it boils down to. This match definitely should have happened much earlier than it did.
Yeah.
It's quite a testament to the WWE that they didn't hotshot this at all when Taker was in a better state and Cena was full time. But regardless, it's just the intrigue of where do we go post seemingly retirement Taker? Where do we go post Cena's now part time? No, he's not. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Where do these two stand?
Would you describe this as a dream match?
Yes, in its current incarnation. These two have only had a single. They've only had. I want to say they've only had 2 singles matches. One of which was when
had a few, yeah.
Cena was. One of which was Cena was a rapper and Taker was a biker, and the other one they had, I think it was a Raw match, and it lasted 3 minutes.
Yeah, for me it's a dream match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, and then it's not booked yet, but the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is on there. I think Meltzer said that there's going to be 14 matches total this WrestleMania, which is mad, really, but 3 or 4 of
Monday off.
Yeah, 3 or 4 of them will be on that pre-show.
Yeah,
during the day, and wrestling in sunlight always looks shit. So
yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dreading this WrestleMania as much as I was prior to 31 taking place, and certainly 32.
31 was just great, yeah, and 32 was gash.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not as pessimistic towards it, but whether or not the WWE can successfully pull off including pre-show, which if it's anything like last time, a 7-hour show, I don't feel optimistic about it. I think it's going to be one of those bum-numbing, oh my god, it needs to stop pay-per-views. It'll have some highlights, but I think it's going to be a very long affair.
Yeah, I think that's a given, considering how these things go down. But yeah, okay, that's WrestleMania so far. Shaping up quite nicely. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be good. Got that week off, though. I'm going to recover from it.
Yeah, I'll see what I do with it. I might try and take the Monday off and watch it live. That's what I always try and do.
Watch it live? You're fucking mad.
I watched Rumble live. I know it's sort of 7 hours, but still.
Oh, what? Start at 12 o'clock in the evening, and they're like, oh look, it's sunrise. It's like it's like opposite WrestleMania, where it's like evening there. It's now morning, and I feel fucking shit.
Well, yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that brings an end to this episode.
Yeah, got nothing else to say, man. Roll on WrestleMania.
Roll on WrestleMania. I think this is probably our last episode until WrestleMania, unless something stupidly, massively drastic happens to WrestleMania's card that brings about a change that needs further discussion.
We'll just go back to this episode, re-edit what we need to say, and then just paste that.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah. Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, we'll bring this to an end. This has been episode 15, Spots for Attitude. Thanks for listening. You can catch us at all the usual places that we talk about that I don't think ever drives any traffic to these places, but worth a go. SWA_podcast on Twitter. smarksforattitude@gmail.com. And
what's our emails, Reese, this week?
I'll check them another time. And soundcloud.com/smarksforattitude, and we're on iTunes and all that jazz as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Harry, for running down FastLane today.
Not a problem. Please watch WrestleMania. I can't do this again.
Yeah, no, obviously. It's WrestleMania.
I think you owe it to our listeners to apologise as well, because they do not need to hear my monotone tones butchering the pay-per-view.
Okay, I'm sorry for letting Harry talk more on pay-per-view stuff.
Better.
Cool.
It's better.
Nice one. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back for WrestleMania.
See you later, guys.